fans. Today we have a lot to discuss, basically about the rookies that are coming in right now. They're changing the culture, but more importantly, I want to start off with essentially what Chris Grier and I would just say Chris Grier did this offseason that kind of set us up for the future. Hit that like and subscribe if you like these videos. And again, enjoy. What am I saying? I don't know why I said that. Today we're going to be going over essentially what I was surprised when I saw it, but what Chris Grier did is finagled some certain things that this coming end of year, so regardless of what happens this coming end of year, we're going to have like $50 million in cap space. And Doug will break it down a little bit more, but if you go to Dougly Do Wrong, he definitely breaks it down much better than I can. But essentially, getting rid of Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill, you free up like $50 million in cap space. So the one thing that I don't get about this is what we should have done. I mean, it's a learning experience, I guess. This is what we should have done in the beginning, because coming into next year, we're going to be a team that has a full round of draft picks and a bunch of young talent that is definitely excelling when it comes to, building this team from the interior out. We're going to have a bunch of young players coming into this team right now that will be on rookie contracts. And the thing is that if Tua doesn't work out, if Tua gets injured again, this next year, 2026, 2026 would be the next year after this year. You can basically cut all of these players, and it doesn't have to be like a June 1st thing. You can cut or trade all of them and, basically get to like it's almost $60 million in cap space. So you could do it right. I'm going to be honest with you, the way that it's set up, I think there's going to be a head coaching change if things don't work out. I think Mike McDaniel might get fired. But the way that Chris Grier set it up, I hate to, break it to you guys, but I don't think Chris Grier is going to go anywhere. I don't think they're going to fire Chris Grier because he set it up so perfectly. Again, we're going to be coming into another year with kind of like, usually teams need to have like a full rebuild. We just need to get rid of a couple players, and we have most of the pieces on the team. We just need to keep adding pieces through the draft and through free agency. Even saying this, we don't have any corners, but Asante Samuel is 25 years old. You give a contract to someone young like that, you have another young building block on this team that, 2026 is going to be the year. Obviously, like we said, we have some, things. I truly believe you can't keep Tyreek Hill on the team this year, so I think you're going to trade him this year. But Jalen Ramsey is going to get traded, and, Tua needs to stay healthy. And if Tua isn't healthy, bunch of quarterbacks coming out in next year's draft, and, way later we'll go over all of them. There's going to be a bunch of quarterbacks. So you can it's 3 players, basically, that have summed up most of the cap space. And we're not even talking about Jalen Phillips and Chop Robinson look good. You can decide to get rid of Chubb and, move on from Chubb and just have Jalen and Chop. Who else? I think that's basically it. And then on top of that, when you do that, your whole team is like 25 years old, which is what the NFL is moving towards, is having that young NFL-ready team. I gotta be honest with you, I don't think Chris Grier is going to get fired. I don't think that he is, because he set this up so perfectly. And on top of that, what people aren't recognizing, which I went over this in one of my last videos, is that Anthony Weaver is Mike McDaniel's replacement. And that's what I think happened this offseason, is that Mike McDaniel has a shot to turn it all around, for sure, 100%. But they're not going to let Anthony Weaver walk out that door if Mike McDaniel is screwing things up again, if he's not, calling plays in right, if he's, not getting us over the hump, if the offense, does not improve from last year. Anthony Weaver is the replacement. He is the guy that's going to take over. And I don't know, it's kind of low-key perfect, because you have a guy that already knows all the players, you know what I'm saying? And all the players already know him. So all you would be doing is handing the mantle off to Anthony Weaver and just telling Mike McDaniel, You gave it a good shot, but it's time to go. And honestly, I know a lot of people are saying 7-10 whatever. I don't think that we are going to be a 7-10 team. I think we're going to make the playoffs or even close to it, just because when Tua is healthy, and I'm telling you, like, it would be one of the stupidest things. And I know people are probably going to say in the comments that, it is going to happen, but if this kid hasn't learned to stop running or stop just taking unnecessary hits, I would be lost for words. If there was another play where Tua runs and takes another unnecessary hit and jacks up a shoulder or whatever, or a hip or a leg, it would just be one of the stupidest things I've ever, like one of the most nincompoop things that I would ever see from a player. Because at this point, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3-4 times. It's like, all right, I'm probably the issue here. Stop running. Stop running. Just fall down. That's what Tua's career path needs to go. He wants to be just like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, and he wants to be like those guys. You're not. Stop running. Fall down. If anybody is in between like 5 feet from you, just fall down. Don't even try and, I can understand moving around in the pocket because you're just going to get, tossed back or pushed back or whatever. But fall down. Do not run. If you see an opening, do not run. The problem is that we have some of these highlights when he was younger where he was trucking Jets players over and running into Falcons players. And sure, he injured them at those points. But now he's getting injured. And the thing is he has to stay on the field. That's the only thing Tua needs to do. In reality, Tua just needs, because when Tua's on the field, we win games. It's a pure fact of it. I don't care what anybody says. He's been doing it since his rookie year, since he was, 20 years old, coming into the league with like Devontae Parker and Lynn Bowden or something like that. Like, he's been doing it since then, and Devontae Parker didn't even play all the games. So it was like basically Gesicki and Lynn Bowden. He was winning games. Basically gave a shootout to Patrick Mahomes, down by, I think it was like 17, playing Patrick Mahomes when Mahomes was like an elite offense with Tyreek Hill. Gave them a shootout. He wins games. He just needs to stay on the field. So if he stays on the field, which personally I would prefer to keep Tua, and just if he's playing well, people might hate this comment, but if he's playing good, just keep him and build around him. Finally, it's like I say, finally, as in if he decides to stop being stupid, stop running, stop taking unnecessary hits, and he stays on the field, I don't see anything wrong with building around Tua. You got an offensive lineman. Next year, going to be offensive lineman coming out. Grab another one. Grab another 2. I don't know. Grab a young guy in free agency. Keep building around Tua, and you'll have a Drew Brees effect where it doesn't matter what receivers are on the other end of this. Tua will make everybody open. The thing about it is Tua hits open receivers. He doesn't hit a guy. And I think, again, hopefully Mike McDaniel learns. But if not, Anthony Weaver is there. Tua doesn't need superstar, like every quarterback needs superstar receivers, but Tua has shown that he doesn't need superstar guys. He just needs enough time to read the play and get the ball to him, because he has enough accuracy that he can fit it in between things. He can do that with anyone. And of course, Jalen Waddle's going to be the building block. And so is Malik Washington. And so is Jonnu Smith. And all of these players will be building blocks. But Tua just needs an O-line. That's what's clear as day. So, me personally, the way that they have set this up, I don't think Chris Grier is going to get fired. I think he kind of low-key set it up perfectly, where this is kind of, honestly, like a little bit of a genius. I don't know if he did this on purpose or it just happened to play out like this. It's kind of a genius move. You literally have 2 players that you get rid of, create $50 million in cap space. You basically, and there are 2, honestly, you're going to get rid of one of them this year. Probably both of them this year. Next year you have a crap ton of cap space, and then you literally have, I think like 8 or 9 draft picks again next year. And he's understood trading for players for draft picks not working. And again, like I said, most likely Bradley Chubb is going to be off the books, which is probably another $30 million that's down there. So we'll have a crap ton of cap space. We'll build through the lines, and you can basically pick which coach you want to keep. Do you want to keep Mike McDaniel, or do you want to keep Anthony Weaver? It's kind of like the perfect setup. And Tua gets injured, you either have an option to keep Tua, or you can draft another quarterback. It's kind of set up perfectly. I don't think Chris Grier is going to get fired, guys. I think he set this up very well, and I think he did it on a spurt notice. I think he kind of had this plan just in case any of this didn't work out. I think he did this perfect. Now, maybe he didn't plan this out. It just kind of fell the way that it fell, but this looks very strategical that they did this on purpose. Like 2026 was going to be the year that if this doesn't work, they can reset and, bring somebody else in. What do you guys think? I don't, the way that I'm looking at it from an outside lens is like kind of low-key set this up perfectly so that next year it's like not even like a full rebuild. Like usually rebuilds, you need to get rid of all sorts of players and all this. They've drafted so many good players. And the first thing I want to say, I don't know what Omar Kelly has against Chop Robinson, but I just want to say this before I end the video. Chop Robinson is a stud, and he likes to say, like, oh, he didn't have a year like Jalen Phillips. Love Jalen Phillips. I think he's going to be a building block for this team. Jalen Phillips' first year, Brian Flores sent 8 or 9 man blitzes every single down. Of course, he had a lot of sacks. Like, it's two different things. Like, Brian Flores sent like 8 or 9 man-on-man blitzes almost every single play, whereas now it's a 4 or 5 man rush. So it's completely like Omar Kelly just has some weird thing against Chop where he just doesn't want to give him his flash. I think Chop's a stud. I don't know what is going on with Omar Kelly and Chop, but just wanted to say that. Jalen Phillips was sending 8 or 9 man blitzes. Like, I honestly say that Chop Robinson has kind of more moves than Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips just kind of has like a speed rush around the edge. But I digress. I think Chris Grier set this up perfectly, and I think we're set up for, the next couple years. That's why I think everybody needs to stop being so down on these Dolphins. We're going to see what happens this year. Most likely we're going to be a 9-10 win team. And, again, we're going to build through the trenches. We're going to do it like Philadelphia, and we have a mini reset coming next year that we could literally just rebuild quickly all the pieces that we need to build and start this team. And it's not going to be like a 3-win team. We'll literally just kind of continue, but in a different trajectory. Hit that like, subscribe if you like this video. Appreciate you all. Fins up, baby. Peace.